give up on your legal status. Many people fail to respond to RFE or file an application before the deadline. This is why we offer a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. Not everyone qualifies. First, you need to speak with our CARES team. We receive many requests, so we recommend you answer a few questions on our website, greencardguys.com. Our mission is to help people live and work in America legally. Go ahead and subscribe below and follow and share. Talk to you soon. What's happening? How are y'all doing? Happy Thursday, December 7th. We're here live and here to answer any questions. Today's topic is renewing your green card even while you're outside the United States. And my name is John Ting. I practice immigration law in the United States of America, helping you solve your immigration problem. Now let's get down to it. You're welcome to ask any question or share your experience in the comment section. I know a lot of y'all appreciate that. Y'all love sharing information, help each other out. So welcome to the show. Let's see. So you might be in a situation, okay, where you're outside the United States, and maybe because of the pandemic or maybe because of your job, you run into a situation where your green card has expired. Okay, that's a problem, of course, right? So you have to really think about. Hopefully, you're not in this situation, and you can be proactive, right? So the easy way to say is like if you're currently in the U.S. and you're thinking about going abroad, but your card is about to expire, or you're in a situation where you think your trip outside US, whether for work or for fun, is going to take maybe 3 months, then I would still apply for a re-entry permit. Okay, re-entry permit. So you might have there's a couple situations. Your resident card is valid for a couple years, right? At least more than a year, and but your trip is going to be more than 3 months. And the key thing generally is 6 months. However, you know, things like the pandemic, or your trip is extended more than 3 months and it runs into 6 months, then that's where it can get into a problem. So I just don't think it's worth taking a chance with being not being able to come back into the United States, right? So some people get lucky. I've heard of that. Some people called us. We advise the concerns, the possible consequences, and we've had a couple of people contact us back and say like, "Look, I was able to get in, and that's great. I'm happy for you." But generally speaking, most people will get unlucky and they can't get back in. So by the way, folks, if you're in a situation that you have a crime from the past and you have a resident card and you're like, "Oh, it's cool. I can go abroad. I've done it before and it was successful." Well, look, the next time you come back in, it's likely not to be successful. I just wouldn't if I were a gambling person, I just wouldn't take my chances on that. Okay? So you really need to speak with a immigration attorney. No, look, if we could turn back the clock, right? Many years ago when you had that arrest, and generally speaking, you would think, okay, I'm going to hire a criminal defense attorney. Well, if you have resident status or no status in America, you also need to consult with an immigration attorney. And most criminal defense attorneys may not have an immigration attorney on their team, right? Or because when it comes down to immigration consequences, you have to pay a fee. Criminal defense lawyers, because of the way the laws work, and they have to advise um, immigrant foreign national defendants, their clients, of the potential consequences of immigration status. It does take time to evaluate for you, but I would recommend having that evaluation before signing a plea bargain, going through trial and not winning. It's just best that you have all the knowledge possible before, especially signing a plea deal. Okay, so because a lot of people have the scenario where they may have gone outside the United States, already completed the probation and all that, gone outside the United States a couple times and didn't have an issue coming back in, but the third, fifth time, you're gonna get a lot of questions, okay, from customs officer, and then you're gonna go through secondary inspection, and then you're gonna get a referral to immigration court and detention center. Okay, so you don't want that situation. We're working with another law firm that asked us to help out for immigration court case, a removal case, and the person, I believe person was convicted of what do you call that? Theft by check. Okay, the person had insufficient funds in their bank account, essentially. So, and that person was gambling. So, if you're a gambler, just use money that you actually have. Just a little tip there. Okay, folks. Just try not to get yourself in a situation. I've heard stories about that. Like some people think they can just the, let give a check to the casino, and then you're just hoping that your chips are gonna get you more money. That's just a really bad way of thinking. But I'm a lawyer. I'm not usually a risk taker, so I'm a little different. I'm still hesitant about skydiving and things like that. But hey, if you diving, let me know your experience. All right. But the realistic situation, if you're out for another scenario, similar scenario, is if you're outside the United States already, you know, yes, you can, and your green card already expired. I really hope you're not in this situation. But if you are, yes, you can apply for the I-90. I think you could do it online on USCIS.gov, right? But the kicker here is that, like any other application, they're going to send you a biometrics notice. It's short for ASC on the top of the notice, Application Support Center. Essentially, you go in there, you give your fingerprints, right? And that's for the USCIS to check your background, criminal background history. Now, obviously, if you're abroad, you can't do that. But with the way the post pandemic, in some cases, some applications just randomly they USCIS will still send a notice saying they'll reuse your biometrics. So I still think it's worth trying if you're abroad. Okay. And then if anything, yeah, you're gonna have to reschedule your biometrics. Now, the other way to do it is to get a travel foil document. That's really the first recommendation. If you're abroad and the status expired, try to get a foil document to travel back in the United States. Um, some people have told us it works. Some people, but I think it costs like $575. Okay. And the typical thing, you just Google search travel foil document and the local embassy in the country that you're located. Because look, folks, we just don't want to, let's say like your card just expired and you're like, oh shoot, it expired. So I'm just going to stay in my country of nationality, right? Don't give up, okay, folks? Try and don't wait too long because the longer you wait, the less likely you're going to be able to come back in. So, if anything, I know flight cost a lot, but the cost of trying to reapply and the time for resident status, it's just not worth it, right? So, I recommend if you're really in a time crunch and you're like, oh, shoot, it's about to be 6 months, and it doesn't have to be 6 months straight consecutive. You look at a calendar year. Okay. If you have resident status, look at the calendar year, January 1st to December 31st. And you're like, in January and February, you travel for 2 months. And then later in the year, travel like 3 months, right? And now you're coming up on 6 months. Just pay for the flight to come back. Okay, folks. It's like you need to put it on your calendar as an alert. Okay. Like it really shouldn't matter what your company says if you're working abroad for a company. Who gives a crap? You need I know it's easier for me to say, but you need to maintain your status. Okay. So this is for folks who have not applied for re-entry permit beforehand, before traveling. Okay. So I just want to share the worst case scenario in this situation so you don't run into this problem. All right. Now I'm going to answer some questions here. By the way, I had this like canvas painting back here. Um, if you can guess where this is located, let me know. Let me know where you and you'll get access to a strategy session, no cost to you this week. Okay, let's have some fun with that. If you know where, oh, that was pretty close, Josh. That was pretty close. User 783 on TikTok, you're the winner. Okay, so if you need a strategy session, yes, that's Hong Kong. That is back. I got that like many years ago when I was doing a study abroad there for a couple weeks. Good times. But y'all pretty close. All right. I guess technically it's all one country now, for better or worse. All right, let me answer some questions. Thanks for your patience. All right, I want 30 approved, 45 pending for a year and a half after interview. Ooh, filed in 2021. What do you do? Okay, so this is very clear now for your facts. I recommend filing a mandamus lawsuit for unreasonable delay. Now, some people say like, "Oh, I want 30 approved yesterday," and or it's a month, and you had the interview like a couple months ago. If it's less than 6 months from the interview, it's very clear to not file a lawsuit. But you said year and a half. We're happy to chat with you. Okay, user 6322. You have a pending 45, 2 years now. Man, it's like I'm reading the same question almost. Sorry to hear y'all still waiting. 693 medical exam 10 days before sending USAS. You meant you just sent it 10 days ago? Then yeah, you probably have to wait some time. I mean, we've been very fortunate that after we sent in the medical, um, we got decision like a week to 2 weeks and got the resident card. There's actually one client that got that quick approval notice, but then still waiting for the resident card, which finally, I mentioned the other day with y'all that the situation. So the field office now technically has the ball in their court to contact us. That's per USCIS email. So really strange. You would think it's just like they have an easy button, but they didn't click the button. It's just weird. It's really weird what's going on in there. Like it's like they have to have two buttons, one for the send the approval notice, and then another one to issue the production of the resident card. Just something is weird going on that I know a lot of y'all have been messaging and sharing that similar problem. So anytime the benefit of me being part of the American Immigration Lawyers Association is that when we see these trends of problems, we share it up national so that national liaison can share it with USCIS, for example, whichever agency. So sorry, I realized I may not have answered your question. Let me go back. I guess I did answer. So essentially, I would. There's no timetable on that. After the setting of the medical. But I mean, you got that RFE for medical. That's a good sign. That's typically an indication that your interview is going to be waived if this is a marriage case. Do we do SIJ cases, special immigrant juvenile cases? Yes, we do. Um, I'm licensed in Texas, so we can also help with the family custody order or declaration in Texas. But the key thing is that depending where you live, there's very few states that allow an order when the child is over 18. So the best practice here is to do this, apply for this, starting with a family law case in your state where you live before the child turns 18. It's very, very important. Okay. Let me switch over to YouTube real quick. What's up, Tony? Good morning to you. Tony, where are you watching from, by the way? I know, Lucas, you're in Boston, I believe, Beantown. Okay, Tony got it right also. Famous Hong Kong skyline. That's right. I didn't realize it was famous. I guess I should have known. My wife doesn't like that canvas painting, by the way. I don't know. Is it just too bright of colors, vibrant? I thought it looked cool in the office. SF. So that's why you're in the morning. Okay. Yeah, we're at 12:20:23 our time, Texas. And Tony, I wish you all the best in San Fran. Man, everything we hear about San Fran and Texas, I don't know, maybe it's because of politics or something, but there's always like some kind of theft or crime going on in the Bay Area or Oakland as well. So stay safe, brother. All right. Lucas, what's up? Should you bring all the files you sent to immigration on interview? No, not necessarily. In fact, when you receive the interview notice, I remember that from yesterday, I believe, that they actually tell you specifically what they're looking for. So, for example, you need to bring your official certified marriage certificate, birth certificate, um, because usually the one of the main ones is the marriage certificate. It's like they want to feel it's real, like like currency. They just want to make sure. Okay. But the key thing is updated bank statements. Of course, there's other things, but I recommend following that list. But you don't have to bring everything. Look, if you already printed it, just keep it in your folder. Like I got one of these handy things, my alma mater, UNT, um, University of North Texas. But what's it called? Yeah, if you already printed it, yeah, no worries. But I wouldn't. So my recommendation in terms of like sharing documents to them is only providing them the updated documents. Now, if they ask specifically for something in the past file, like a marriage certificate, then yeah, hand that over. But I would not just dump it on their desk. You know what I mean? Like, first of all, politely hand it to them, but don't give them everything. They're not going to have that time. The key thing is interviews 30 minutes or less. Okay, if it's more than 30 minutes, that's an indication something's up, unless there's some tech issue. Okay, let me switch back over to TikTok real quick. Thank you so much for your questions. Thanks for your trust in allowing us to answer them. Of course, disclaimer here, because I'm a lawyer and I'm held to ethics rules. Everything here is legal information. If you want specific legal advice, please schedule a consultation with us. You can see her on Facebook and YouTube, our number in one of our websites. If you're on TikTok, you're welcome to DM us for our information. If you want a one-on-one, because we do offer a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost. Of course, don't worry about the 15 minutes, but we just have to have a time block, in our calendar. We want to make sure we answer as many questions for you as possible. Okay, Jaddy, how long medical is valid for 45? The last I remember, let me see if I can look it up real quick, is 2 years. See if this pops up. Yeah, 2 years. As far as looks like it was the policy update was in April 2023. I doubt they updated since then. Okay. But key thing, folks, about medical is that yes, unfortunately, even though CDC has said we're not in the pandemic anymore, no health emergency in that sense, for foreign nationals of the United States, you still have to take the COVID-19 vaccine. So I know it's been a while since we've been hearing this on the news, but you have to take the COVID-19 vaccine. All right. So keep that in mind. You don't want to waste time because especially if you got the interview notice and you're like, you probably have not, if not crossed your mind, like you need to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Yeah, they're going to ask you about it, right? So they'll look at the dates. They're pretty good about it. I've had interviewing officers look at the dates on that data filing in terms of when the COVID-19 was required. If I recall, it was like October 2021. So if you filed before October 21, if that's the correct date, then you don't have to take COVID vaccine. Okay. Now I'm not here to tell you that. I'm not trying to intrude on your privacy and all that. You don't. If you want to take the COVID-19 vaccine, that's on you, right? You can apply for a waiver, 601, but I can say it's very difficult. I have not heard of anyone getting approved for that waiver. And it's like 1G. It's $1,000. Okay, folks. So look, I mean, if you got money, cool, do it, try. But that takes time. Like if you're gonna file that kind of waiver, you got to file that long time ago, right? Don't do it like right before your interview. They're not going to process the waiver application on the spot. That's not how it works. It goes to a different office. So yeah, hopefully it helps for anyone else that's considering to file and they haven't already, and they don't want to take the COVID-19 vaccine. Basically, I believe the requirement they ask for if you want a waiver on that is that it's against your moral or religion. But it's not just COVID-19 vaccine. You basically have to say that for all vaccines. So, yeah, I think this can be a tough one for most people. All right, let's see another question on TikTok. Then I'll switch back over to YouTube. What's the best option? Marilima, what's the best option after finishing college as F1 student? First, you need to apply for OPT ASAP. You got a 30-day deadline after after school. So make sure you get that done because after those 30 days expire, you are out of luck. You cannot apply after that. It's very, very tough. It's a very difficult situation for folks. So a lot of people, I've known some people that say they want to apply OPT and then um, we generally don't handle that just because most people overly rely on us and we need certain documents and then they miss the deadline, right? So we really encourage y'all to get that done as soon as possible. All right. Other than that, you're probably not even worried about that, but that is still pretty important. Okay. Marilima. And then because at least if anything, that's a temporary thing for at least 1 year so that because I don't know when are you graduating, but we're in December, right? So March, first 2 weeks of March is the registration period for H-1B. Safely assuming that you could qualify for that and have a company sponsor you. But let's say you, again, it all depends when you graduate, the timing wise. But let's say you're in a STEM OPT, so it's valid for at least, I believe, 24 months, and then you don't get selected in the first round, March 2024 registration. And maybe they have a second round. You don't get selected in a second round later in 2024. But then you go for the first round again, but for 2025, then you could try that again. So that's why OPT is very important to kind of preserve your ability to stay here in the meantime. Let's see here. I think the next one on YouTube is Miss Delgado. What's going on? Your question is if your family member was deported 10 years ago and is still in his home country, what can he do to get a visa to visit? So you say family member. You don't have to share too much detail if you don't want to, but that person has to qualify or have a sponsor first, right? Family, it could be a family member, not any family member, spouse, parent, or sibling. Sibling, of course, takes a long time for any country, at least 10 years. So you need to have a sponsor. That's the first thing. Now, you said it's been more than 10 years since it's been out, or here, yeah, then you do not have to file the I-212 form, do not have to file 601 form, fortunately, unless other things come up. But that process will probably, in general, we call it consular processing. That usually takes at least 1.5 years these days. The other thing is that, or if a family member is not, he's not eligible through a family member because he doesn't have that relationship, then that relationship type, then a company could sponsor. And that process generally takes minimum 2 years for residency. Okay, unless he qualifies for a temporary work visa just to get him in America, get his foot in the door, basically. In the meantime, so hopefully that helps out. Okay, Sean on TikTok, you filed VAWA in April 2021, got combo card, and for prima facie, how long decision? I don't 2021. It depends who your sponsor is, but I think last time I checked on processing time, it doesn't specify. Are you talking about only VAWA or you? Yeah, you did the 45 then. Okay. I don't believe the 485 specifies on a VAWA specifically. Yeah, I don't see that. But yeah, it generally takes a long time. But yours already 2 years? Okay. But if your sponsor is a US citizen, it's supposed to be faster because the visa is immediately available. So let me know, okay? If your sponsor is a US citizen, let's talk. Let's talk about mandamus lawsuit. Let me switch back over to YouTube here. Hey, Devendra on YouTube, congrats. Congrats on your green card. How long did it take you? And was it through family or employment? Can you share with the fans here? Alrighty. Tony, you ask, do I think some of these delays in production of cards can be to the new design? I know they still set your wife's conditional card in the old design. You know, that's interesting. Maybe they changed vendors. You know, because U.S. government likes to use subcontractors, of course. So who knows? Maybe there's a contractual issue. Just trying to think like civil wise. That's interesting. Good point. Yeah, I don't know if it's the design itself, but maybe it's a vendor thing. Someone just contacted me on Facebook the other day about, yo, folks, I'm all for green, okay, but really think about solar panels. I've heard some bad stories about solar panels. One company was sold to another. I don't even know the company name. This person didn't share, but um, there's something wrong with it, right? It's not working. The electricity bill is still like $700 plus, and yeah, yeah, I love going green as much as I can. I recycle. I try to compost. I'm not a perfect composter. I just have this little machine, but yeah, solar panels. I'm always skeptical about solar panels because they have this, lengthy freaking contract. It's like longer than the lease, apparently. Someone asked me to review it. I'm like, no, that's not in our wheelhouse. Okay, we focus on immigration, but just be mindful of that. Okay, be careful. I mean, someone needs to get something fixed, and it's just like no lawyer's going to take that case because it's like maybe $1,000 damages. So you got to think about on the business side for lawyers too. Unfortunately, and I don't think legal aid would do something help out with something like this. So just be very. It's easier to hire a lawyer to review your contract before you sign it. Okay, because after you sign it and then you have problems, it's going to cost way more. Just as anything, if you're signing a lease for like your company or something, any transaction. All right, off my soapbox for that. Lucas, does immigration ask questions about family members who's in the U.S. illegally on marriage-based interview? Fortunately, I have not had that happen. You know, if it comes up in general, it comes up without asking about legal status. It may come up about related to like, oh, how did have you met each other's parents? Like that. But they don't. I've never had an officer ask that detailed. Fortunately. The pairs on TikTok. How long does it take when you're adjusting your status to your wife that's in the Air Force? Well, just because I mean, thank you for your spouse. Thanks to your spouse for her service, but unfortunately for residency, it's not faster when a person's in the military or serving. As far as I know, I mean, hey, it'd be great, but they haven't shared that with us attorneys on like expedite process in that sense. I mean, that honestly would make sense, but U.S. government. I've had someone mention to me about the VA that they get poor service at the VA. It's really unfortunate to hear. Really, really delayed. So let's see here. But in general, 6 months. I see that on YouTube, Devendra responded. He or she's case took about 6 months, and that's what we've been saying on our side for 2023. If we filed it in 2023, an average timing for us 3 to 5 months. Okay, but keep in mind, folks. I know some of y'all get frustrated when I say this. This is for folks who are both of y'all are in the United States. Okay, if the foreign national is outside the United States, it's minimum a year and a half. Okay, Lana, you have DACA, married U.S. citizen. Okay, hopefully you found the right fit. You overstayed your B2. What forms do you file for a green card? So there's several forms. We don't go through all of them, but petition that is I-130 establishes the family relationship. Okay, essentially it's because they want to verify if one of the spouses have been divorced before, then that you've like formally been divorced and legally able to get remarried. That's an example, right? And the 45 is adjustment of status. That's technically for residency, but specifically what the review is any grounds of inadmissibility For example, like misrepresentation. If you told someone that you were married before, I mean, not someone. Well, it could be during an interview, but usually it's like on the Lana, you entered with the B2. So on your DS 160, um, because some of y'all hire agents or consultants, please, if you're in a situation, you're thinking about applying visitor visa in the future, just do this yourself, folks. We'll have a webinar to help y'all out, give you some pointers, but don't hire an agent because for some reason they put married to you to someone. It doesn't even have to be a U.S. citizen, just like married. I mean, ideally, not even U.S. citizen. So that the misconception is that if you check mark married on the application, that you're going to come back to your country, right? So that's why these agents do this. And you're like, you didn't know about it, right? So some people figure it out because USCIS deny them at a certain application. It comes in all different stages. The first green card, removing conditions, or it could come up at naturalization when you want to become a US citizen. And so, hot tip here, folks, you might ask, well, shoot, USCIS approved me already. They shouldn't have approved me then if that was the case. Like it's too late. No, you're wrong. In civil cases, there's something called statute of limitations where, like, I don't know, in Texas, if you get injured, you have 2 years, only up to 2 years to file a lawsuit against the other party. But immigration, USCIS, State Department has no statute of limitations. They can take away your status even after you become naturalized as a US citizen, right? I've heard of that. Fortunately, none of our clients have been in that situation. All right. I don't think any of y'all have, but that's why, look, if you know this is more than Lana asked for, but I love to share information here. If you know you did something wrong a long time ago and you're about to apply for the first time, it's really best that you confess now, okay? Because there's a waiver, 601 waiver for misrepresentation. And misrepresentation, yes, does include omissions. Lies include omissions, meaning that you didn't actually say anything, but yes, it could have been on an application. You did it wrong. It does not matter if an agent completed it for you. You can't completely blame the agent. We can try that, but you have to admit fault. Okay. Now, not everyone is eligible for this waiver, 601. So, of course, it goes back to what I said earlier. If you're in a situation where you're about to apply for visitor visa, for example, or any other immigration form, please do not lie. It's not worth it. It's going to come back to bite you. Okay. All right. Off my soapbox. All right. All right. Use 098. How about waiting for I-730? You have plenty of them. Is that what you mean? You've been waiting plenty of time. 2019, still nothing. Yeah. I just checked yesterday and I believe it said 29 months, but we got one approved. I hate to share this because we've been successful with this, but it took about 2 or 3 months. But again, I can't promise that result for you. But for a situation like you, 2019, oh my goodness. If you file for your spouse or child, yeah, that's ready for a lawsuit. We file lawsuits for that too. It's ridiculous. Let me switch over to YouTube here. Joe Cute. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. When USCIS requests for medical, does that mean no interview? Yes, I mentioned that earlier, but it wasn't specific to your comment. That's the typical, fortunately, indication in 2023. So if you're watching this in 2024, could be different. Ms. Delgado, can his daughter sponsor him or niece? No, not a niece, but a daughter can, who's a U.S. citizen. Daughter who's a resident cannot sponsor. Tourist visa, I mean, you could try that. Which country is this person from? Because there could be some employment visas available depending on work experience, whatnot. Um, I don't want to make assumptions based on last name, but we can discuss that later. So this is a good example that if you, since you know this person, or if this person you're outside of country, can schedule a call with us. Okay, 15 minutes, no cost to them. Now look, the person who went earlier about saying Hong Kong first got that access that strategy session automatically. If you want to utilize that, let our team know that you mentioned Hong Kong. I'll let them know that I did this off the cuff thing here. Little quiz, fun quiz. All right, a lot of great questions here, folks. My stomach is grumbling, to be honest. I think the food is here, so I'll stay on to answer three more questions. I'm speed round right here. Okay, folks. Lucas, you and your wife are going to Puerto Rico in April. Should you bring a copy of the hotel and plane tickets to your interview? Yeah, you can. I think anything like flight related, even if it didn't happen yet, shows obviously shows intent that you're trying to spend more time together. Uh, so that's great. Let us know how the trip goes. Okay, Lucas. What are the costs for us to attend with you? I think you said yours in January. I'm not allowed to share pricing online. I did that once, and TikTok platform was on before as well, and it banned me. So just contact us, and we'll share it all with you. Okay. We love to share stuff. There's no reason for us to hide. We're open book. Just depends on your comfort level. Okay, Lucas. Um, Shamarke. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. You came to the U.S. at 17, and your dad was a citizen upon your arrival. And now you're 20 and eligible. Are you eligible as a citizen since under 18? Yeah, we're happy to look at it. Generally, the default is yes, but of course, there's all requirements. So contact us, okay? Shamarki, talk to you soon. All right, let me go switch over to TikTok. Wait, that's two, right? Is that two questions? Technically three. Okay, one more. Can you travel with employment authorization? Card says that it serves as AP. Yes, it's a combo card, so that's great. Combo card I-512, so you're good to go. All right. Make sure you don't lose that card and that you save a scanned copy to your phone. So, I mean, most of us, I think, use iPhone. I know you got some Android users, but I'm sure you got a cloud folder on there. Just save it on there because I've known people that only brought like a courtesy copy and they got lucky. I was able to like somehow communicate with them, and it worked out. But some people not able to get on the plane. And so typically how it works is that you go through a ticket agent, go through security, and it's the person at the gate. So gate agent, that's the person who's going to be like, you can't board the flight. And it also can happen when you're coming back to the United States. They can stop you too. So make sure you have that. All right, folks, I really appreciate it. I have to eat real quick, like just stuff my face and then go to another several meetings for the day and do some legal work. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Today's Thursday. Tomorrow I'm going to be in Dallas for court, so I'm likely not going to be able to go live, but I'll try maybe at the airport or something. Wish all the best, and you know how to reach me. If you don't, message us. Talk to you soon, and please subscribe down below.